Welcome to the Fourcast, where we review movies, documentaries, films like you've never seen before, a completely different way, different perspective. Ready to come at you with another great show on tonight. Dawk, how you doing? I think you're on mute.
He was on the phone.
Ain't on the phone no more. He didn't answer. Hey, what's going on, good peoples? Yeah, and if you don't believe we come at you in a different way, you're gonna find out tonight.
Oh yes.
You're gonna learn this evening because there's several points that's gonna, in my estimation. Oh yeah, you're gonna learn tonight. This ain't your dad is Siskel and Eva.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this ain't. Yeah, this ain't what you used to or what you've seen before.
Right.
All right, Wilks got the updated camera in the building.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Yeah.
Don't let me down, camera guys. Don't let me down. No, doing pretty good. Doing all right.
I don't know which I like best. He clear, but the rest of the house blurry. I feel like I've been playing virtual reality all weekend. I feel like I'm in that again.
Man. Yeah, doing pretty good. My wife let me open my early my birthday present. And she got me a KitchenAid mixer, so it's about to go down.
That's what's up.
It's about to go down.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
What color she go with?
It looks like a navy blue color. They didn't have red or stale, but
no,
I love that blue color.
Yeah, my little niece has a company that she started. Mm-hmm. She's in high school. She started during the pandemic called Mass Confections.
Nice.
And she does a lot of baking. And so to support her for Christmas a couple of years ago, I got her a same thing, a stand mixer. Blue is her favorite color, so it happened to be a blue.
Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah. So there's gonna be some damage done in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's what's up. Well, you know I'm around the corner. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got
need me to, I'm just trying to help you out.
This ain't for me. Taste testing.
We just trying to taste a little bit.
I'm just trying to serve the community.
Oh, don't worry.
I'm just trying to bless you. I'm trying to bless you a little bit.
I'm putting no spit on them.
I'm just gonna give you some of that. Blessing oil. But HRap, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm back on my drugs.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Wow.
Yep, I saw it. The Wilks. You stay leaning forward because when you lean back, you go into the matrix, motherfucker.
Don't do the fat joke. Don't do the fat joke.
Can't do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll lean back.
Miss Sonia on there bragging about her hand. She talking about I got a standard hand mixer. It's black. And she trying to unbrag, I guess.
All right.
If you got the hands to cook, it don't really matter.
Right.
What you got.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go any further, Wilks already said it, but tomorrow is his birthday. We want to definitely give him his flowers right now.
Thank you.
Appreciate
he
you.
He ain't finna die. It's his birthday.
I know. I'm saying
we use that give him his flowers thing. I'm tired of people saying that anyway. Hey, we catch on to something. We just gotta do it. Everybody gotta say it. Quit saying stuff everybody else say.
Thanks, Drake.
I ain't giving you no damn flowers. Hell, I'm gonna say something to you.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, big 41 tomorrow. 41. So
I got this for you, but I wore it.
Oh, it's all right. I appreciate it. Test it out for me.
It's got some sweat. There's some sweat on the band.
I'm not still waiting on my shirt. I'm good.
Just wipe that sweat off. But yeah, happy birthday to you, sir. Yes, 41 tomorrow.
41.
Man.
Yeah, 41.
You, great guy.
He's still a young pup. He still smell like Presovi behind his ears.
Or hotel and legs, whichever one.
Wow, it's like that. What's in the Moscow Mule cup today?
Just Moscow Mule.
All right. Well, we got you hype and we got HRap high because he is high as a kite over there.
Like that Styles P, Styles P song.
In the name of Ash, baby. In the name of Ash.
Let's give
wow.
Let's give a couple of shout outs here. Raider Kev, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to follow on his YouTube channel, also built for this network. Shows live each week. Golden, living a life like it's golden. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, Golden.
Miss Sonia, we appreciate you. Denise, Milk and Cookies, we appreciate you. Let's see who else we got here in the building. Kirby Alexander, thank you for coming through.
Representing the LBGTQ.
Appreciate you. Caught me off guard with that one. Just Joe, thank you for tuning in. TC, thank you for tuning in.
How you get the comments looking that big like that?
Yeah, it wasn't that big last time.
I'm on my laptop. I'm on my laptop tonight. That's probably why.
But I don't think mine. I'm on my laptop every night. They don't show up.
Yeah, man, I don't show up that big.
You got an update or something?
I don't know. They must have did an upgrade
because you can see the faces clear.
Yeah.
If mine not like that tomorrow, I'm slamming my laptop down in the middle of the show. I don't give a damn.
She said a swig of
Similac. How they put the cologne on Similac?
Got some of that Jakar. You got some of that Jakar in the back.
Wow.
Hold on. Why they put Jakar behind the glass? Jakar ain't that nice. You be behind the glass. You can just
see. You don't understand. You don't understand marketing, do you, sir?
It might be that nice, man.
It ain't that nice. That's how you trick people to think it's that nice. So they be like, "Hey, if they're behind the glass, it must be something to it." They ought to start putting their ass behind the glass, and then maybe we'll think it's something to it. And I'm sober. Okay, I'm sober.
I'm on pain drugs. Not high.
Wow.
But I'm thinking about going and firing one up.
Might as well. All right, tonight we coming at you with.
I may have to kill this.
I'm feeling real Lamar Odom.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna have to kill this ceiling fan because it's making some issues over here.
Yeah.
Let's just say they would come out better putting the curve behind the glass. They would come out better putting the curve behind the glass. I don't know.
Curve was way more gooder.
Oh, that's what she told me to say. Curve. Yeah, I remember that too. I had some juke.
Yeah.
Remember that juke with the
hey, juke. They might as well call that coochie wetter.
Wow.
Ladies used to like the juke.
Wow. I'm not gonna say we own one. That's what we do every week.
Yeah.
This ain't nothing new. All right, so tonight.
Thank you, Alfred.
Tonight we are coming at you with the documentary, which I think this is really, our lane when it comes to what we do. The documentaries and the films that really spur a conversation, but also we learn. And tonight we're doing Citizen Ashe, which is about Arthur Ashe and talking about how he was an athlete, an activist, and a champion. Started out from birth. So I was pretty excited about this one because I knew Arthur Ashe, but I didn't know the backstory. And to me, that was one of the best parts of this. And that's why I was pretty excited to see it. And it wasn't super long. It gave you really all the pertinent details and everything you needed to know. But HRap, give me your initial thoughts. Citizen Ashe.
You know what? I feel exactly where you felt. And like a lot of people, I hate to jump off topic immediately, but a lot of people love the Ali movie and love the Jackie Robinson movie, right? And the reason I didn't is because of this work like this. It gave you things that you never heard of, never knew about, never thought about, and it explained a lot of things. And that's why when we said it last week, I said, hey, man, it's going to be a plot twist in this. And it really held up to everything that I had read and things of that nature. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. Dawk?
Yeah, man, I dug it. Initially, it took me, even though I know it's a documentary and they got a different feel to it, right? As documentaries go, it started out a little slow. We've been spoiled now, man. Think about our life in documentaries, right? Before the Fourcast. Now HRap may be a little different because I think he takes in a few more than the average guy does, right? But think about documentaries and how we didn't even necessarily have a good thought process about what they were, right? I just don't think the quality of them, but you would have to have certain documentarians like Ken, I forget the guy's name, but he did the documentary called Baseball, and he did a couple
Ken
other.
Burns.
I forget his last Ken Burns. That's right. And a couple other guys that are known documentarians, right? But typically the documentary is like, I don't want to watch that boring stuff, but I guess your taste changed, like your taste buds change, or either we've just been treated to some really good freaking documentaries, man. The Summer of Soul, the Rick James, what Sound of Fury. I mean, they just been fantastic, man. So this one started a little slow in comparison to some of those. However, I like the way where it went,
Yeah.
I think it's both, Doc.
Yeah.
I think it's both. Most documentaries we've probably been introduced to over the last 20, 25 years, they haven't been about us. And these, the ones especially ones you mentioned and include Exterminate the Brutes, this has been directly connected to us. Just like anything, man, if you want to learn something, I want to learn something about me versus learn something about you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Raider Kev says I'm a documentary junkie. Yeah, man. I for me, this is one of those. I actually watched this really early this morning because it was probably 12 o'clock. Well, it was about 11 when I watched it, but it was something I couldn't look away from because you're really learning about someone that you knew from afar, but you get a really inside look. You heard from his wife. She talked about, and you had interviews from different people that really interacted with him. So, this was definitely right there for me. Now, this is available, which is kind of weird. At the opening, it said CNN Films, which I went to CNN to see if it was on the app. It wasn't on there. Then it said HBO Max, and I'm like, it's not on HBO Max. And then I ended up watching it on Apple TV. So how did y'all end up? What y'all end up watching it on?
Apple TV. White man holding me back.
Yeah, I didn't know it was on Apple. I watched it on Amazon Prime is where I watched it. But I mean, it was like $7, but still, it was worth it.
Yeah, me too. That's how I consumed it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Initial thoughts, Wilks.
Yeah, I didn't. Growing up, I didn't know anything about tennis, and when I heard
tennis shoes, man.
Well, that's about it.
That was about it. Yeah,
that's about it. And tennis skirts, but that was about it.
Wow.
Sorry.
He give you a high five.
Yeah. So when Arthur Ashe, when he passed, I didn't even know black people were playing tennis. So let me just be honest. I had no idea. And watching this and getting to know him, and I know they had named, I think, a stadium after him, or they may have named a.
I believe so. Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Stadium, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, that's right. And it definitely opened my eyes to some things that I did not know about him because I just kind of stopped there when I heard that, okay, well, he passed, but didn't really know much about him. I never really researched. I never looked into it, but I was like, man, it must be pretty serious if they're naming a stadium after him or it opened. So, it definitely opened my eyes to a lot of things I did not know. I know growing up, like when Johnny Carson, when the Tonight Show was coming on, there were some nights where it did not come on because the Wimbledon had started. I didn't even know what the hell the Wimbledon was. And there were nights Johnny Carson didn't come on because they were showing you highlights or showing you matches from the Wimbledon at 10:30 at night. So, I mean, just to kind of see that, they kind of introduced me into tennis. I mean, I played a little bit in summer camp. I mean, I wasn't obviously not a pro at anything, but it was different. It was fun. But yeah, the Arthur Ashe, I really enjoyed watching this. It was really good.
Yeah. And Arthur Ashe Stadium is in Queens.
Okay.
And that's where Flushing is what they call the specific city or whatever. Yeah. But it's inside of, I guess that's where they have the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. So it's one of the courts in there called Arthur Ashe Stadium. So I think they hold a U.S. Open there in New York.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Raider Kev says, my daddy introduced me to tennis when I was young. Loved the game, just was never good at it. Yeah.
He didn't introduce you to punctuation. I know that is. That's a run on like a mother.
Wow.
And I'm sober. Go Raiders.
Yeah. Wow. Go Gruden.
Courtney Harper,
Sorry.
thank you for tuning in. I think
What's
the
up,
first time viewer. Thank you for coming through. Miss Theodora Harper just gave us a thumbs up over on Facebook.
Okay.
Appreciate you. Rhonda in the building. Thank you for tuning in.
Right now.
Okay, Denise said I was okay at tennis. Okay, went in the juniors championship or something like that.
Come on, son. You be honest. Where he is? Because people always get themselves an extra level. So
Yeah.
she just said she was just okay. That may mean she was horrible. But she's the best black girl I know.
Yeah. Now, for me, it was interesting watching this because we watched King Richard,
Right.
which I don't remember them talking about impact that Arthur Ashe possibly had on them, but I felt it was that was a kind of an interesting tie-in because they both really, when I say both, I'm talking about Venus, Serena, and Arthur Ashe kind of came up in the game the same way, where they were the only blacks. They had to be obviously trained by somebody that was black, which went to the gentleman that helped Arthur Ashe. What's his name? Dr.
Johnson.
Dr. Johnson.
Dr. Johnson's Junior Development Program.
Yeah, which that sound like somebody that can teach.
Was that name mentioned in the King Richard? That sound from, I don't know if it was.
Not that I heard of.
I don't think so.
And I think they were in two different locations too, weren't they?
Dr. Johnson was in Virginia.
Right, they were on the East Coast. And,
they were in Jackson.
The Williams clan was on the West Coast at the time.
Yeah.
Now, so here's a similarity, here's a tie-in in terms of how the game was taught to the Williams sisters and how it was taught to Arthur Ashe, is that Dr. Johnson required that they read every book on tennis in his program. It wasn't just the physical aspect. He made them read every single book on tennis. And what did King Richard do that we saw? He consumed, while he was at work.
He read all the books.
He read. So I think that was a key to how they both taught were taught.
Do you think, and I guess for Dawk or anybody, but do you think Arthur Ashe was probably maybe a segue for King Richard for him and Serena? You think?
Quite possibly, I mean,
I think he had to have watched or heard of him.
And by the time they were rolling, there was plenty of material to read on Arthur Ashe. And especially like when he started becoming, which again, we're getting a little ahead of it, but we don't have an order. But as soon as he started, becoming more active politically, that's when the literature on him increased tenfold, I'm sure. He probably had plenty. He probably had all he wanted to read on Arthur Ashe.
I'm 100% sure that was a segue because I remember like at this point of the year, they would put people on the wall. They would start off saying things like, they put up Bill Cosby and Wilma Rudolph and those cats, and Muhammad Ali and Arthur Ashe is one of those people they would put on the wall. Yeah. So I consistently heard about Arthur Ashe my entire life.
And Althea Woodard don't get enough credit either.
You mean Gibson?
Althea Gibson, yeah. I was getting up confused with Alfred Woodard.
Alfred Woodard's still alive.
Yeah, she's got something on her on Amazon Prime too.
Yeah, we may need to check her out down the road. I think she needs something.
And they also mentioned her name in this.
And
they did.
Like to see that Wilks 41 and Ben, what you 39?
Yeah, I'll be 40 this year.
Okay, it's sad that you guys didn't get that because it was only like 20 black people that they was even talking about back in the day. And he was one of them. He was just as popular.
I'm telling you, I didn't hear about him, unfortunately, until he passed.
Right.
And I mean, you had the Andre Agassi's and the Pete Sampras, and they were showing you those guys, but I didn't know anything about Arthur Ashe until he passed.
Yeah,
and his documentary is beautiful.
I mean, because he battled two of the biggest tennis names all time in Connors and McEnroe.
Right,
It don't get no big. I mean, think about it. I just call them
Right.
Connors and McEnroe, and everybody know who the hell I'm talking about.
Right.
It don't get no bigger than them two boys. And he had matches
Exactly.
with both of them, and he had, and both of them. They touched his life. He touched their life. They were impacted by it, especially John McEnroe. You know, John McEnroe is highly impressed and motivated and inspired by Arthur Ashe. Highly, even though they were two different people.
Right.
And in a way, Arthur talked about how he envied John McEnroe because he could just say whatever the hell he wanted to say because he's a black and white dude, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, shit, I wish I could talk like that.
He said they drag him out of there.
Right. Really. He wouldn't even make it to the court.
No.
I mean, they
not the second match.
Yeah.
That's why it, you know, when I saw those comments on Instagram when Serena had blew up at the guy that was, I can't think what they call him. I guess
the judge or whatever.
The judge. Yeah, she had a little spat with him, and everybody's like, "Oh, she's being spoiled." I was like, "Do I need to run the tapes on McEnroe?"
Right.
No, well, they
really
destroyed him.
Not even saying I had just as many people fond of that they did. I didn't hear anybody talking positively about what Serena did, but I used to have people say, I love McEnroe for speaking freely, and he was entertainment, and they wanted him on. And
the sports world used to destroy him. I remember his last. The sports world used to destroy. I remember the last time he took an early exit. His last time at Wimbledon, he took an early exit, and they were running all over the sports center and all through the newspapers. The brat is gone from Britain. They used to destroy that cat. Especially when he fell off.
That's when they used to destroy it. When he was on, they did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When he was on,
clips,
that's everybody.
The clips that they were showing of him literally yelling at the top of his lungs to the official, and the official's like leaning in, like, "Oh, what was that? Yeah, what was that?" I mean, it was like it's okay if you do this. I'm not gonna reprimand you. I'm just gonna listen to you and just take it. Right. But the double standard obviously is there. We know that. So early on it kicks off and it talks about a quote, and I love the quotables of him because it played it in the background. You didn't see a lot of stuff. You didn't see him saying it, but you heard a lot of impactful things that he said. One of them was brawn and no brains, and I like to break the mold. And that made me think of really the athletes of today, where a lot are very outspoken for what they believe in and what they care about and the things that they are concerned of. And I thought he became that because if we start talking, it wasn't like he was always that way, but he eventually became that way and did his own way in his own right. But when you guys heard that, Wilks, I'll go to you. What was your kind of initial thoughts? Did you think about some of the athletes from today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, immediately, even with just people saying, shut up and dribble, I thought about the customer that I had on the phone like 2 years ago, maybe a while back. Well, no, it may have been a while back when the basketball players were kneeling. I mean, she was like, yeah, I'm a big Utah Jazz fan, but once they start kneeling, I don't go to the games no more. And I'm like, are you going for entertainment purposes or are you going to like support regardless? It's like you say you get the message, but then you don't get the message. So, I mean, I feel like in a way, once Arthur Ashe became more aware of what was going on around him, which I think he's always been aware, but like he said to the gentleman, then he said, that's not my way. I think he realized at that moment, it was like, man, I got to do something. I got to advocate. I got to stand up. But no, I think it was a big deal. Like I said, I didn't know that part of him. I didn't know any of that. So it was new for me. And to see him kind of take that charge, I know I might be getting ahead of myself, but I kind of felt like it was another Malcolm X, Martin Luther King kind of thing, because with him, Muhammad Ali,
that's a good analogy.
I felt like it was a Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X relationship because here's Arthur Ashe, doing his Meek and Miles situation, but Muhammad Ali was being bombastic and being vocal, and I just feel like he was trying to
That's immediately what I thought.
It was just one of those things where it was just like, man, I kind of drew a smaller kind of a detail, kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess similarity, I guess, but I could be wrong. But I felt like it was.
I'm with you.
Yeah, no,
Was he on a Wheaties box?
I think
I
so.
feel like he was.
Yeah, for some reason that rings a bell.
To Arthur Ashe?
Yeah, I feel like it. I feel like it was. Matter of fact, I feel like even Wilma
he was. Yeah,
he
he
was.
was.
Most definitely. I mean, the dude was big. I mean, the dude was
Because
gigantic.
I think they had like a Legends edition. I feel like Wilma Rudolph was on one of them, and then like
yeah, they were back to back.
Yeah, okay. It was like that's what I thought.
Like they were serving in two different. They were serving in two different directions. I mean, man, Arthur was. I mean, when you talk about that time, like to touch on what you talked about, Wilks, that was one of the things that I was talking about when I said it's a plot twist. I understood what Harry Edwards, because this is one thing I'm being a little picky on with this, but I don't like the fact that they don't call him Dr. Harry Edwards. They only call him Professor Harry Edwards.
Yeah.
And these are two white women who made this movie. So, I mean, it may be nothing or it may be something. I just didn't like it. But, this is a talking point in regards to the, how I always talk about the social structure in our community, governance structure. Social structure are conversations that we can have anywhere. The governance structures are the kind of conversation that we should have behind closed doors. But this is a show about both, right? And I think he didn't have that moment of clarity until he starts seeing all that death. He harkened back to Emmett Till, and then he goes to the Vietnam, and then he's seeing people get beat to death. And I think the social structure pushed him into made him political, because it just wasn't his way. And it's cool to be, and see, this is also a situation to whereas I see a lot of people judge people. I've heard people judging dozens of people on, well, you should have done this, and they haven't done anything. You know what I mean? Now, when you Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and you still getting backlash from 1968 not participating in the Olympics, and when you Dr. Harry Edwards and you laid everything on the line, I can understand why they can be critical. But it's people today that are critical of people like Arthur Ashe. Well, you didn't act in enough time. No, I was acting within my time. Don't tell me when to stand up. And this is the lesson that excuse me, I had hiccups. This is a lesson that I think Black people in America need to take from this. Because look, I'm not political, man. It's not my way. I'm not in somebody's face. I can't. That's not my get down. But I'm doing this in my. He was still simultaneously tearing down walls. Right. He was doing it. You were doing it with a pickaxe, and I was just doing it with my performance.
And that's kind of like with when some people, and I may have said this before, but it's just like when some people, oh, God called me to preach. Well, he called you to preach. He didn't call you to get to church.
Right. Right. Man, I mean, I literally thought about that when because you said that a couple of weeks ago, and when I was watching this, I was like, this is exactly what Wilks is talking about.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't need you to be inside the walls all the time.
Right.
I mean, as long as you
spread the message, church.
Right. Exactly. It's like he didn't say he was calling you to lead this church. He lead my people. But that's a different topic, but different conversation.
So being to your point on the question, is the one thing we have to consider is his father's influence in his life, right? So his dad was this playground caretaker, which again, what the hell is that?
Holcomb Rucker. That's all he was.
Okay, so he's this playground caregiver. I guess we in Texas, we just let the city do that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So he's the playground caretaker that got a house on the playground, or within the playground grounds or whatever, and so 10 feet from it is where his 4 tennis courts were. But his dad was the one. He talked about his dad as being a real respectful man, and that he was like zero tolerance when it came to talking back and and acting out and stuff like that. He said every year when I went to school, they said if he get in trouble at the school, discipline him at school, and when he get home, I'm gonna discipline him at home. Right. So a lot of that he took with him, and I also believe that his coach, Dr. Johnson, in the Dr. Johnson Jr. Development Program, he required all of his students. He picked students based on their temperament, you know, and he's like, because you got to be able to be tough enough to handle what you're going to go through, and it can't affect your game. So he had certain requirements. So I think he was kind of, you know, raised to be what he was, you know, and again, until he came into his own as an adult, influenced by life's experiences, did he become who he was, you know. And shoot, in the middle of the documentary, because I didn't know how he ended up and all that other kind of stuff early on, I was like, what? You know, you saw, you know, what, you know, it's like I was wondering where he was going to go with it, you know.
I mean, but I think it's a great misconception for people that live north of the Mason-Dixon line. Our great ancestors, Malcolm X, he did the same thing, and Jackie Robinson had to get in his face. You know, what I would have done. Well, you wouldn't have done a damn thing, because this is a dude who was raised in the South. He was raised at the headquarters of the goddamn Confederacy. He was so when you raised there, you act like that. Your father tell the teachers, yeah, I'm gonna tighten them up too. Yeah, so I can keep you alive.
Right.
And that's what people from north of this damn Mason-Dixon line, we don't understand that. We think the whole world is structured the way we live. Like, if you're from LA, you can say this. We from New York, you can say this. You from Chicago, you can say this. But you say that same stuff down in Kentucky on down, you're gonna die. And that's what people up here just refuse to understand. So it's like my pastor, Reverend Dawk, shout out to Reverend Dawk, and he told me the story about one time he was in Kentucky and somebody, and they was like, hey, James, we gonna do the talking. And then the dude said something that is northern slick. And he was like, and his boy had to grab him. He was like, yeah, boss, you right, I understand. And then he told him, look, dude, they'll kill you for talking like that down. This ain't no beat up. Right. They will kill you. A lady lied on Emmett Till and he's dead. And he got beat to death. Right. So, you know, people up here just need to realize that instead of, I get it, man, Kareem, you sacrificing, and Harry, you out there in Oakland sacrificing. But this a dude from Virginia.
Yeah. Right. And what he's seen, I'm gonna give a plug and a shout out to Teaching Through the Eyes of Trauma. That's the new show on BSC Network. She did an episode that dropped today talking about trauma does not have an expiration date. So she said something to that effect. So you think about Arthur Ashe and like
losing his mom at 6 years old, and
that too. Like you think about, and all the other stuff that he's seen. I mean, they didn't go into detail, but I'm sure he's seen all type of stuff growing up in the South. So when you see, he's not going to be the person that's going to run up and be extremely vocal immediately, because that stuff that happened to him is still in him. And that I just kind of draw that parallel because it really talked about the things he went through. Obviously losing his mom, obviously just having his dad, his brother, and shout out to his brother
in Vietnam and taking another tour, so he wouldn't have to go.
Really. That's
But you know what I know? But you know what I noticed? That every time something good happened, he had his brother right there. It's a lot of people in that situation that would not have given their brother the love back on that. Right. But he had him. He was his best man at his wedding. When he won, as soon as he got back to the hotel room, he called his brother, etc. So yeah, man, that's what's up with that. But he's always, even still toward the end, Arthur Ashe was very selective with his words. He didn't just pop off at the mouth when he spoke. Right. He was very deliberate about what he said, and you could tell he was contemplating what he's going to say as he said it. He didn't just pop off, man.
Yeah, shout out to Overton Claiborne. Thank you for tuning in. Huge supporter of BSU Network. We appreciate you. And Raider Kev said he thinks he was on Jet Magazine on a monthly basis. I did not know that.
Yeah, Arthur used to stay on Ebony and Jet, man. I mean, this dude was a superstar at the highest level,
Yeah, I mean, sure. If Nelson Mandela can holler at you and say, Arthur, my brother, I'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah. And he initially said he wanted to be the Jackie Robinson of tennis.
Of tennis. Yep.
Which he was. He clearly he was. One of the things that he was taught was non-confrontational approach, which that he had to do that when he was with Dr. Johnson. He did that with his dad. So that makes even more sense as to why he's not going to be the person that's gonna be running up to people and doing these types of things. But to HRap's point, Dr. King definitely, and then when Robert Kennedy, when he passed, that affected him greatly too. And a lot of times in our lives, we don't do. I think sometimes we don't do what maybe other people think we should do, or what we're actually led to do until we hit those moments. And that I think those were key moments for him.
Yeah,
well, man, it's just crazy, man. People, that's one of the big, like, people always talk about what we, you know, one of our biggest conversations in our governance structures is what we don't do. But what we need to start talking about is doing things in a timely fashion.
Right.
When it's your time, it's not my time to do this.
Right.
Therefore, let me do what I'm doing. And then, hey, man, you really ain't no room to criticize anybody, man, because you don't know what's in me.
Right.
You know, we need to realize that we're all not from a warrior class. Some of us are from a more philosophical class, you know. Some of us come from an analytical class. Some of us are engineers, or so forth and so on. So that's where we go wrong. Oh, well, everybody's a warrior. Nah, you know, everybody isn't.
Was it not Jesus that asked his own mother, "Why are you here? For it's not your time."
Right.
He asked his own earthly mother, like, wait a minute, what you doing?
I'm gonna ask my mama that this weekend. Hey, why are you here? Anyway, you know,
you already did your job.
You'll be doing the next forecast like this.
Had a slick Rick eye patch on.
Now, what's funny, one of the things that stood out to me about this is that, you know, when HRap was talking, I thought about council culture and how one of the biggest problems with council culture is that it does not allow room for redemption, you know, and when it comes to this country, some of the greatest stories are those redemption stories. I mean, heck, we talked about the Bible. If council culture was a thing back then, Paul wouldn't have did what Paul did. Paul was killing Christians, and he was allowed to come back and start saving folks, you know, saving Christians, preaching. So imagine if council culture was what it was. We got to allow for redemption. You know, it's not one and done, you know, or as like with Bill, it wasn't 91 and done. That's the joke part right there.
Retarded. You are authentically retarded.
You need me to call your cab? You good?
But so let me ask y'all this, man, because this is one of the things that came through my mind on this, because here they were being very critical of him early on. I forget that cat name who was over one of these organizations, but he was very critical of Arthur Ashe for sure. Even when Arthur Ashe started trying to get involved in
Dr. Harry Edwards.
That was
Harry Edwards.
Yeah. So he was like, man, what you calling to talk about? You know, like he didn't even give him a chance. But anyway, so what do y'all think? Do y'all think we are, and I think HRap kind of touched on it, but I said, is it fair what we ask of our athletes? You know, in terms of speaking on social issues and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know, and I asked that saying that, like you just said, you know, Arthur Ashe at the time, he wasn't built that way, you know, he was having his impact in a different way. So are we asking too much of our athletes?
I don't think so. Too much is given, much is expected. You have to, but what we do need to do is have a unilateral point of view in regards to what they're doing. Again, Arthur was showing you Black people have elegance, Black people have grace, Black people have intelligence, right? Muhammad Ali, Dr. Edwards, HRap Brown, because I hated the fact that they ain't mentioned HRap. I mean, they didn't even say Rap Brown's name. And Rap Brown, I mean, they bombastic, they in your face. Kareem was a mixture of Arthur and Muhammad Ali. And he was young too. So you 19, 20 years old, you ain't really built for this. And again, it goes back to you up in this Midwest, Northwestern portion of the country, and you got a little more liberties than people who living in the South. You come to Texas in the 60s talking that shit the hell up, white man, and you're gonna be hanging from a tree.
Yeah.
You try that anywhere from Texas to the Carolinas, your ass is, tell God I say hi.
Right.
So we have to be able to accept the fact that Dawk might be in your face. Ben might be, hey, I'm coming up with the plan. Wilks and I may be warriors. So we blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But it's funny that Jack Roosevelt Robinson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar both took their ass out west and got liberated. You ain't hear a whole lot, I don't know about Kareem, but you hear a lot about Jack doing it. Jack was just even killed. By the way, he hates to be called Jackie. He hated it. And Kareem didn't get liberated till he took his ass out west and had some more liberties poured upon him. As Arthur said, when I led in the South, they told you don't even look at a white girl over there. We out here smashing them two at a time.
And he made up for it, didn't he?
Right.
That was his goal. He was like, that's all good. Yeah.
So Ben,
that was his first girlfriend.
What's y'all take on that question? Are we asking too much of our athletes? Are we being fair with what we ask of them?
I would say no, because just like what we've been talking about, everybody does it in their own separate way. So we can't. I think we can say. I think we can ask. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think we cannot dictate how they do it. To me, I think that's unfair, because I'm not a person that's going to run up and argue with somebody. I may be the person that, like, kind of like what HRap said, maybe come up with a plan or figure out how a different way I can go about it. So that's how I'll answer it.
Yeah.
Wilks, what you got?
Yeah, for example, I would say no, but I noticed that, like, with the NFL, they've been embracing all of a sudden these athletes that would put messages on their shoes. At first, they were fining the athletes for putting messages on their shoes, or charities that they represent, or speaking out against drunk drivers and things like that. But I don't think it's wrong. I think they have the platform. I think when do you do it? When they're not listening? I mean, I asked this question one time about Colin Kaepernick. You don't want to see him kneel, but when do you want to see him kneel? Are you going to tune into his webpage? You're going to go to, are you going to continue the fight? Because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So when do I protest? Because if I protest in front of you, it's supposed to make you uncomfortable. It's supposed to ignite change or thought process. Yeah. But you don't want to see it at work. You don't want to see it on the field. You don't want to see it on TV. Okay, but will you care about it when you don't see it in front of you? So I have to do it now. So I don't think it's wrong. I don't think we know.
So let me add a couple of different points to the overall perspective here. One is that if he hadn't have been who he was, right? So I'll remind you of what Dr. Johnson said in Dr. Johnson's development program. He says he wanted them to read, right? And they pick students on their ability to be cool, calm, and collected, no excuses to get ejected, right? That was his thing. My point is, had he not been the way he was, he may not have been given some of the opportunities he was given early on. Right. So had he been this brash, bombastic, now I'm the third guy to use the term today. Had he been that and this militant dude up front, he might not have become who Arthur Ashe was.
And Dawk, can I just jump in? Can I just jump in right there real quick? Even I can't remember, we just mentioned his name, but the gentleman, he even said he could speak to both sides.
Dr. Edwards. Dr. Harry Edwards.
Yeah, Harry Edwards. Dr. Harry Edwards. He just mentioned he can speak.
He's a psychologist for your team.
Yep.
So maybe that afforded him some opportunities. So that led me to my next point. This is how we're unfair to our athletes. You're 100% right. I operate under that mantra: to whom much is given, much is required, right? I operate under that mantra. However, it is how we express those expectations that's a problem, right? We have expectations of athletes. Instead, of just calmly expressing those in an intelligent way, or coming to them with a proposal or whatever the case may be, we criticize them in a public forum, talking about how much trash they are, because they don't ever help, they don't ever do such and such and such and such, right? That's the problem. And I come from a place to where I literally on jobs was called Uncle Tom and Super Nigga, right? So I mean, I've literally, because I used to wear a shirt and tie every day to work, even though it wasn't required. But I was on a mission, right? And I knew I needed to separate myself from the riffraff, right? And so I remember I started to get promoted, and so I was walking by this section to where it was a bunch of brothers at, so I walked by and they was like, SN, and I don't know what they meant. But they all started laughing like they knew what it meant, so obviously they had been talking about it. So I just giggled and said, what's up, man? Kept walking. And so the next time I come around, they said it again, SN. Because that's what I would do. I would still, once I got promoted, I would walk around and try to identify talent, that I could help try to get promoted, whatever. Right. And so one of these cats, when he said that, I said, man, come here for a second. So he came over there. And I asked him, I said, what SN mean? He goes, nah, don't worry about it, man. I said, nah, what do it mean, man?
Right.
And I said, I told him, I ain't gonna get mad. I said, I'm laughing when you say it, so it don't matter what it means. So he said, man, it means super nigga. and I cracked up. I cracked up laughing. I thought that was funny, and I didn't say anything with him. I just went on about my business. So the next time I came through, he goes, hey, Dawk, let me holler at you. And so I'm like, yeah, what's up? And so he goes, let's step out in the hallway. He goes, say, man, I want to see if you can start mentoring me, man, and give me a cake. See how I can, see how I can start getting promoted and whatnot. I'm like, because on the 1st and the 15th, I'm living large, being super nigga over here. But see, what they didn't understand, and me and HRap have talked about this a couple of times, is how I got into a position to be able to assist as many people as I assist is because I infiltrated the situation. Right. I dressed like they dressed. I talked like they talk, but I didn't lose who my blackness was. In fact, I done had a chick who did not get it, sat in one of our AVP's office with me and said, you don't know who he is. Y'all see him on Monday through Fridays. Y'all don't know what he do on Saturday and Sunday. And I'm like, you are absolutely right, but they don't pay me for the blunts that I smoke on Saturday and Sunday. They pay me for how I rock this shit Monday through Friday. And what does Dawk say? Like I said, but what she didn't know is that I was doing what I was doing to be able to afford opportunities to other folks. They gave me an opportunity. And so I'm like, if I fuck this up, then I'm gonna mess it up for a lot of folks coming through me. They're like, okay, we gave him a shot. They're gonna act like this. I couldn't let that opportunity go to waste. So again, sometimes he got the opportunity based on a behavior, and we are so critical in expressing what we think they ought to do.
Kind of like what Dawk was saying, and I think he's mentioned this before. I want the ingredients to the recipe. Like, I don't want the finished product.
That's right.
How did you get the steps to that point, to the finished product? Give me the layout first.
It's almost like it was like I was in a surreal experience one day. I remember, like I said, I was dressing like they dressed and going where they was going, standing. I mean, I'm talking about, I took it so literally, man. I stood where they stood during town hall meetings.
Oh, absolutely.
Just simply because and one day these jokers just started talking to me because I was over there about some shit they had no business talking to me about.
Right.
But what they don't understand is that you infiltrated now. Right. You don't start giving me secrets because they start thinking in their mind, well, shit, he want us. He over here. He's dressing like this. Exactly. So they start thinking, other managers and AVPs and stuff started thinking, okay, well, maybe somebody's giving him some favor that I don't know about. I better start treating him good just in case he's gained the favor of somebody else. Exactly. It was strategic. When I say the art of war, I can put on a clinic. I want to teach people now who are still dealing with corporate America how to do it. It's so easy.
It's big.
It's a book came out in 65 and they made a movie in 68 right out here in Gary, Indiana. Spook that sat outside the door. And it's exactly what you're talking about.
All the information.
He started rolling with white people. He was a CIA, and it was a plot against black people. And they burned. And in the movie, they burned down Gary because he was sitting outside the door, getting all the information, BSing, shucking and jiving, and then it went down. So yeah, I mean, that's what I said. Look, man, like to prove brother Arthur, the ancestor Arthur Ashe, right? He told his brother, "Don't do nothing now that you're gonna have to pay for later." I mean, I'm not telling Kareem not to beat Kareem, but he ain't playing them 68 Olympics, and his black ass, the greatest scorer in NBA history, can't get a damn coaching job. The greatest scorer in NBA history cannot get a coaching job. A dude who walked through the doors rookie year and finished second in league MVP, go on to win 6 league MVPs, 6 NBA championships, and he cannot get a coaching job. So, hey, it is what it is. I mean, and I'm glad he did what he did because that helped him in life. But
there you go.
He's paying for it today.
Now, and to piggyback off of what you said about, if he would have did what he wanted to do, if he would have responded how he wanted to, you think years and years and years down the line, who would have affected? So I think Arthur Ashe was considering the generations after.
I agree.
Like that, to me, that's bigger than just popping off one day. Like when you think about Venus and Serena, you don't know who they are. You don't know what they look like. You don't know. You have no clue who's going to be coming up. But I think he had vision. That's what he had.
Yeah. And see, for me, I'm not interested in coaching folks on this kind of stuff for their own gain, right? See, if your self-gain is your motive, it ain't gonna work no way. I promise you it ain't gonna work. But that wasn't my motive. And there's not a person on this panel right now. There's not a person that's watching this right now. And there's not a person who's gonna watch this in the future that can say that I have not taken everything that I've garnered from said action and been a blessing to other folks. It's like, that's what it's about for me, to be a blessing, either with the actual monetary gains from that or from the knowledge gain from that. That's what I'm doing with it, So if your thought processes do anything else, you can just forget it. But if it's not, go make it happen. But think about it. Had I let that affect me, had I been embarrassed because they was calling me Super Nick, and I'd have stopped, doing whatever I was doing. Imagine how many other people that would have affected, I mean, there's so many stories after stories after stories of folks that look like me and you, single moms with 2 and 3 kids living out their cars, that because I had the ability to, and I recognized their ability and talent, was able to give them $10,000 a year pay increases to get them out of apartments that they've been living in all their life and be able to provide a home for their kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, man. But again, how many people, because we express negatively who they are and how they are because we lack understanding, do we get them to back off of a mission that should be lauded and applauded as opposed to
absolutely
looked bad upon or frowned upon.
Right. It's like, that's what I was saying. It's kind of like it's shameful to try to succeed for some reason.
Yeah,
because you think it's almost like, well, how dare you look like you're one of them?
Yeah, and then let me tag in on that. It's shameful for the folks to want to succeed in that way, but it's not shameful for you to want to go try to get the damn bag the other way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is just asinine, man.
Exactly.
It's asinine.
Right. Well, going forward, before the show started, when he introduced us, just going forward, being
change my name to Super Nigga.
It's a pro. It's a
you know what? I'm gonna have me. You know what I'm gonna do? You remember what we talked about today, this morning, and stuff like that. That's gonna be one of my first joints. I'm gonna call it From Super Nigga to King Dawk. That's gonna be the name of that show on the Friday night special. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, no, you just put S in, so then people like, what's that mean? And then you got to tell the story.
Hey, don't put Super Nigga. Clip from a Richard Pryor comedy album. It's a crow. It's a bat. It's Super Nigga. Yeah, man. But that's the thing, man. People don't let you develop at your pace, and we never had. Well, it is what it is, man. And then the sad thing is, man, a lot of this stuff is curated by the social structure. And we keep falling for the man in the tailpipe, man. We keep doing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No,
Because
and they misused. I thought about you several times during this documentary, HRap, because how many times did they misuse Uncle Tom? And I said, I bet that's driving HRap crazy.
It was. It was like, it's not an insult. You want to be Uncle Tom, man. Flat out.
Yeah. But so we talk about he wanted to be the first. He wanted to be the Black Jackie Robinson. He was the first one to do the Davis Cup. He was the first one to win Wimbledon. I mean, he put his stamp. He put his stamp on the sport.
More power to the SN. I need to go and give me a shirt, man.
Might as well. It's official.
It's official. Appreciate that, Theodore.
Put it on your license plate.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the conversation starter right there.
Okay.
People gonna ask you. People gonna ask you. Now, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but the Arthur Ashe and Muhammad Ali parallel, which they had, they were talking about that quite a bit, and I think because they were really, again, we've been talking about this. They were two totally different people. Muhammad Ali, just the way he talked, he was a trash talker.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he took that same thing and he took it into his activism and what he believed in. And definitely Arthur Ashe was soft spoken, and there was just a difference. So I think also with Dr. Edwards, at first, like we were talking, he was real. Like I thought he didn't care, and I thought he was that he was soft. And then later on we realized he said, "Oh, okay, he's doing it a different way, and he's doing both sides," like HRap said.
Yeah.
So they're two different people, but they're going at it their own way.
And I know somebody gonna take this the wrong way, but you are looking at the examples of educated versus non-educated.
There you go.
Street education and book education.
Mm-hmm. Because Muhammad Ali
both have value.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali could, before he joined the Nation of Islam, he wasn't a very good reader. He openly admitted it. So he didn't have the scholarship that Arthur Ashe had. So Arthur Ashe had vocabulary. He was loquacious in a different way, and he could articulate his points of view from an academic standpoint. Muhammad Ali was pulling it right out the mud. Until as we say, he was keeping it funky. So we as a culture, we gravitate towards keep it funky. Just same reason. Same reason we love Malcolm versus Martin. But then, like the curation I'm talking about, what are they talking about today? They're talking about a general wage for a living, affordable housing, and healthcare. Y'all know where they got that from, right? It's this book that Martin King wrote. It was published the year before he died, called "Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community." They got that from him. All this stuff that they talking about is they got it from Martin King, the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And they don't even give him credit for it because it's the curation of Dr. King. They curate Dr. King just like they curate Jesus Christ. Just, lack of a better word, he's this punk that ain't gonna fight. But then when you actually read the book, you realize that Jesus is telling people, run up on me if you're bad. And Dr. King, look up this documentary called "The Deacons of Defense," and there was the Student Nonviolent Coalition and him and Abernathy and them, his crew. They were standing there arguing with the Deacons of Defense about coming to a rally. And King busted up the rally. A word around the campfire is King busted up the rally busted up the argument like, "Yo, D, y'all going to the rally tomorrow?" He was like, "Yeah, we ain't gonna march. We coming." He said, "Okay," and left it there. Now, Abernathy and them got to shut up.
Right.
They're like, they ain't said they was going to fight. They said they coming. They going to have guns. They ex-military. They keeping these folks off us. How else do you think Dr. King and Ralph Abernathy and Andrew Young was walking down the middle of a damn country road and didn't get shot? But they had some dudes on the side, you know. So everybody.
Okay, I thought that Deacons of Defense was the LA Rams defensive line back in 1976. My bad, with Deacon Jones. I didn't know.
Man. At the end of the day, impact is impact. It doesn't matter how you get to it. If you're in your lane and you impact,
and I think HRap said it on the show last week. Another thing too is what folks say: the ones who is critical is the most critical. That's hollering the loudest, ain't doing a damn thing. Right. What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't be doing much because you wouldn't have time to do all this damn talking.
Right. Don't nobody, don't nobody punch down.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
So Ashe going to South Africa, I thought that was a nice segment there, and they said he could come, but he couldn't talk politics, which he still came, and Andrew Young, that was a really nice aspect to this, which I didn't know they were. I'm assuming they were close, or at least good friends, or I like that aspect of it. And he went there for the kids, and he would look up and he was like, "Oh, I got a match in an hour." And so, I mean, that again goes to his heart and the impact he was trying to make.
And I love they showed a lot about Arthur Ashe whenever they said, our whole reason was for him to come over here and show he can beat them at their own sport, and his ass got beaten fine. And he said, and we killed him for it. I love that, man.
Yeah, that
is fantastic. Big. Because at the end of the day, it still had an impact, but they, were cool enough, and they had enough perspective to understand that this ain't, this ain't the end of the world because we lost. We still did what we needed to do, but we finna jab you for it.
The fact that somebody
got over and lost.
You about to get roasted still.
Yeah.
I mean, but like you said, man, that just shows the relationship that intelligent people have together. Like I posted this video in my group yesterday about Dr. King and Muhammad Ali, and they had a 4-hour meeting, and then the press was there when they came out, and Dr. King was like, Muhammad Ali was Muhammad Ali, and he's like, just like the way y'all be over in them Russian meetings, having them meetings, and y'all don't come tell us nothing, we ain't telling y'all nothing. And Dr. King, sure as shit stinks, sat there, and he said, "No, we ain't gonna tell y'all what happened, but we brothers." So yeah, man.
Yeah, because they're just gonna find a way to use it against them. That's all it is. It's just whatever it was.
Yeah, and that's another dude, man. That brother Andrew Young, that's another guy. Him, Ralph Abernathy, Whitney Young. Those dudes not spoken about enough. For everybody that's talking about reparations, Whitney Young, that Ice Cube plan that he came out with last year, that's Whitney Young plans. Whitney Young and Bobby Seals and my man Huey P. Those their plans.
Yeah. Raider Kevs definitely had his role in the movement.
Yeah, Red man.
Definitely.
And just to give the audience who haven't seen the documentary or don't know a lot about Arthur Ashe, I'm gonna give you the difference. When he went to Vietnam for the USO tour, and his brother happened to be over there, and he saw all the killing and stuff like that, they said he had to step outside because they got shot at and stuff like that while he was there. And he had to step outside, and they said he had a problem. They went out there to check on him, what's going on. And he said, "I was frightened to the point of defecation." And his brother was like, "So what are you trying to say, man? Is this scared the shit out of him?" And I'm like, if that don't perfectly illustrate who Arthur Ashe is, to say, man, I was frightened to the point of defecation. And see, sometimes folks think, and I'm sure HRap get accused of this as well. Sometimes when you speak in a certain way, folks are thinking you're trying to talk down to them, or you trying to, that ain't the case. I'm just talking. This is how I talk, and just stick around long enough. I'm gonna say some hood shit in a minute, but right now I'm on this pontification point, I'm just showing you I can get down in the crack house or the White House, just fill the out.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wilks. Thank you.
Wow.
Crack House.
Crack House or the White House. They both white, but that's okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. But you're right, dog. It's just like I said, man. We so busy. We major in the minors in our community.
That's it, man. Say that
you know
again.
How many times have you been watching a program and the dude standing up there sound like Malcolm Luther King, and then one of your homeboys go, you see his tie crooked. What?
Right.
Is that all you got from that?
Man, I had one of my best shows ever. One of the shows, because I sometimes y'all be like, man, that was a good show. I'll be like, I hated it. But there's one show I thought I kicked ass, and this person texted me, why you wear that shirt? I said, let me call you back. I ain't even respond. Like,
did you get the message?
That's what you got out of that. I said on air and talked for 2 hours.
You know what? I couldn't tell your ass nothing you done wore in none of your shows.
Right.
None of them.
Well, except that dashiki. That's the only thing I remember. That's the only thing. Everything else,
you know what, man?
Black or brown.
So think about this. Okay, so I even came up at a time, man, where some folks were critical of intelligence in the sense that if you got good grades on your report card back in early middle school and stuff like that, folks was clowning on you. Look at this old straight A ass nigga, stuff like that, And so so just think about this from an athletic standpoint, the importance of intelligence in athletics. People are missing it. There's such a fine line between talent at that level, at the highest levels. There's a fine line. And guess what? The difference may be is who's the smartest at the end of the day. And I don't think there's any doubt that Arthur Ashe was one of the most intelligent. Matter of fact, they said he was likely the most intelligent on the court every single time he was on the court. And it's the reason why he was ranked number one for an entire decade, never won Wimbledon, but ended up beating one of the best of all times in Jimmy Connors because they strategized.
Yeah,
right. They strategized before. They talked about it from the Playboy Club, no doubt.
Right.
They said and they wrote a plan out as to what can we do different.
Doing this thing.
Because he knew that's where the girl was going. The white girl was going to be.
It's just like I told my son. He'll be 18 in July this year, and I tell him all the time. I was like, look, the people that's laughing at you in class, they doing their work. Yeah, but you're not doing your work because you're too busy trying to be a class clown.
That's right. But think about some of the greatest athletes of all time, and you tell me which one of them was dumb, man. You don't think Muhammad Ali was one of the smartest in the ring? Hello, rope-a-dope. You don't think Jordan was one of the smartest on the court? You don't think? Right. I mean, come on, man. It's some of the most intelligent dudes out there, man. There's a reason why point guards go on to become coaches afterwards because they some smart cats, man. They see the court in a different way, And
he went to UCLA really at a time when it was a powerhouse academically and athletic. So and it seemed like he didn't even apply. Maybe he applied, but it's not like they came to him.
No, they came after him.
And look at it this way. It was like 3 people that graduated from UCLA on that one panel. Jackie Robinson.
Oh yeah.
Him and Dr. Edwards.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
that was that alone.
Yeah.
But folks don't know how big it is. This cat was the captain of the Davis Cup, man.
Oh, the Davis Cup.
In one of the whitest sports, other than
the whitest sport.
What
tennis got something to say about it?
Even the guy said it was the whitest sport played between white people dressed in white.
With white balls.
Got 3 black famous people. They only got 1.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. But that's huge, man, to be the captain of the doggone Davis Cup.
Piggyback off what you said, dog. One of the greatest athletes and minds in the 20th century is Paul Robeson. He went to school, became an attorney, a great act. He went to school, was a lawyer, a great actor, and guess what he did on the weekend to make ends meet? Played in the NFL.
Wow.
Amazing. And there's I think his name is Myron Rolle, I believe. Just to shout him out real quick. He went to, I think that's his name. He went to Florida State and played football.
Maury Rolle.
Made it to the league. No, it's Monroe, and now he's a neurosurgeon.
Yeah, neurosurgeon, because he was a Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah, like amazing. And I think to bring this, kind of full circle, shout out to D Great, thank you for tuning in, appreciate you. But if you look at, we got a show on the network, it's called Hood Scout. He interviews different high school athletes and coaches and stuff. When you go to these athletes' pages, it'll say 2023 DB GPA 3.8 or whatever, because that is just as important, obviously, as being athletic. But I think that just shows that, and I appreciate that they do that, because going back to the original comment, they just dumb jocks. They're not smart. They're just good at playing sports.
I think Emmitt Smith is the biggest. To me, I think he's the biggest notoriety or influential, because I feel like Emmitt Smith was always going back to school after the NFL season.
I heard that. Yep.
I feel like he was always going back to school. He eventually graduated from the U. I was like, it was one of those things where he was always going back to school. I think that's one of the things they always talked about. He never stopped chasing that graduation. He never stopped chasing.
Michael Irvin graduated.
Yeah.
What's his name? Percy. He was the offensive lineman for years. He's an IT guy now. And the dude Randall Thrill Hill that they always showed him dancing at the U.
Yeah.
He's been a Fed for the last 25 years.
Yeah, I don't think they ever stopped. I think he always pursued.
Most of those guys have degrees.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Smith almost dropped, former Vikings running back Robert Smith almost dropped out of Ohio State because they wouldn't let him take pre-med classes.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it was I'll never forget. That was the biggest thing that always stood out to me for Emmitt Smith. It was like he never stopped trying to achieve what was after this, because he knew, like, look, okay, I do football, I run, but he knew just having that notch in his belt of finishing and what he was probably trying to achieve after football, he needed that. And I mean, I will never forget that. That always stood out to me growing up. It was always mentioned. So no,
everybody talking about how stupid J.R. Smith is because he made bonehead plays. J.R. Smith is at Winston State right now with a 4.0 GPA.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
On a golf scholarship.
On a golf scholarship, right.
Man.
I mean, that just goes to say that we're not the stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, don't believe, because we're being told we're stereotyped.
Right.
We
don't believe the hype. It's a sequel. As an equal, can I get this through to you?
I'm here bumping with that trunk of funk. All these jealous punks can't stop him a dunk.
Don't believe it.
Don't believe it. Well, like even Arthur Ashe had mentioned, he's like, yeah, because black athletes were known to just excel at sports because we were just naturally better. But he said we were more than that.
Mm-hmm.
He said it wasn't just because we could run faster or jump higher. Like, no, it wasn't any of that. We just, when we put our minds to it, we had to excel at these things because you were already judging us anyway. You were already labeling us.
Right.
So we had to succeed at other things. It was just, we say naturally gifted, but I mean, it could be the ancestors that are passing that energy down.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. And I like the aspect of his wife, which, they gave her opportunity to talk about him, talk about the daughter, and the kind of the story of how they met. And that was kind of his match. I thought that was a nice.
Yeah, and she damn sure hands down the beauty of the week. You don't even have to play the
beauty. I was going to say the beauty of the week.
Yeah. We don't even need to.
Yeah.
Holler at me, Miss Ashe, if you still around here. I know you're widowed.
I take sponsorship.
You ain't got none of that stuff he had, do you? Thank you, Wilks. See, Wilks is let me just say this right now.
Oh, wow.
Wilks is my biggest supporter, okay?
I got you, buddy.
Even when HRap are being mentioned, Wilks is on it, boy.
I got you. I'm listening.
I'll let me Miss Ashe. I hope you ain't got that stuff. I know you widowed.
Wow.
These just
Well,
jokes, people.
right. These just
What's up, Wonga?
Wonga?
Haven't seen her from you,
Building?
brother.
How you doing? All right. So one thing I would say about this is I appreciated they didn't spend like the last 30 minutes, talking about his last days and how he suffered, and they left it as like he still did everything. Everything was normal. His daughter was involved. Yes, Theodore. Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
But normally in documentaries, they spend the last few minutes. I was on his bedside, and but they ended it on a high note, and I appreciated that. I just feel about that.
Even I like the way this was before he got diagnosed with as HIV positive and with AIDS. Is that he had some other medical issues? I'm sure from his playing career and some other stuff. I forget what he had before he had.
That was the man.
It was something pretty sick, which will bring me to another point. But how he said he kept his daughter involved in his treatment because he remembered the first time he was going for something, she was too scared to even look at him. She just grabbed his hand, the pinky of his hand with her hand or whatever. But he talked about this was the part when he was talking about John McEnroe and how he said he always wanted that, but he knew he couldn't do that. He couldn't be like that. And so, I know what it was. He had a heart attack, right? And cardiovascular, he had to have surgery and whatnot. And he talked about, I even brought this up on Man Talk Mondays this evening, is that how they linked cardiovascular disease to holding in that stress, that unreleased stress that is not released, and the conditions that it causes, So I thought that was I thought that was an amazing point, man, when it comes to mental health, this being Black History Month, and we are as a community still trying to shed the shackles of that stigma of mental health. Man, I thought that was big when he talked about unreleased stress, and not letting your emotions, not expressing your emotions, and the damage that it does internally.
Hey,
Well,
I want to add this about Black History Month. This ain't got nothing to do with the documentary. I'm just tired of these ignorant ass people from my community saying that they gave us Black History Month. They gave us the shortest month of the year. They gave us February. No, Dr. Carter G. Woodson took the first week or the second week of February as an acknowledgement to Frederick Douglass. It's his birthday week. Frederick Douglass was born on Valentine's Day. Well, he took Valentine's Day as his birthday. That's why we have Black History Month in February. And in 1966, they expanded it to Black History Month. So all you ignorant ass people that keep saying that, shut the hell up, please.
But you know why they do it though, because they know they get a lot of feedback from saying that kind of stuff. A lot of people, when they do that capping, because that's capping, when they do that capping, a lot of folks jump on it and be like, yeah, man, and they get those supportive voices that are just as ignorant, man.
Yeah, man. I just had to say that, man, because it's annoying as all hell.
Yeah, and I learned that. I learned that from you, because that was my thought as I've gotten older is just that it's Black History every day. We don't need a month. I appreciate the month, especially for how they fought to get it. But it's Black History every day. You don't have to wait till that month to start teaching.
And the bottom line is, it's just like HRap talked about his show when he was focusing on his T-shirt instead of the content. And who cares how it came up? I mean, it's a good point, right? We know, we love how it came about, but at the end of the day, is that the most important aspect of it, or what you gonna do with it anyway? The people who are focusing with that, even if they had just given it to us, so what? Take them 28 days and do something with it,
And here's the crazy part: the very man who created the month or the holiday, the celebration, says in his book, The Miseducation of the Negro, if you only have 30 days to celebrate your history, you shouldn't be celebrating.
Right.
If you only have 30 days of history to celebrate, it ain't nothing to celebrate. You need to go back to the
Oh, absolutely.
It's so much history. Like,
yeah, man.
Black history all day, every day. I agree with you.
Fresh from the joint.
Awesome to know your history, HRap. It's Black History every day. Embrace it.
Oh,
coming with the hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
It's Theodore coming with it tonight. All right, so the kind of the part with Wimbledon, which the game plan, we talked about the game plan that they came up with, but the fact that Jimmy Connors was suing Ashe for saying
$5 million back then.
$5
too.
million.
$5 million.
$5 million.
Come on, Jim.
They didn't say. I'm assuming that he didn't win. What? He must have got. I mean, the music.
You got to go back to the other.
You got to go back to the other comment. Yeah. Yes.
You know what I thought about when they was putting their game plan together? Did they, in that moment, invent tennis scouting?
Absolutely.
Quite possibly, man.
Absolutely.
Quite. And did they have him pegged to a T, man?
Absolutely.
Oh,
he followed that. He was a tactician.
Yeah, man.
He stuck with that plan, and it.
Yeah. And then he said something about he was reading from an envelope.
Yeah, when he wrote
the
the four major points that they had discussed that night. That one of the guys that was there wrote it on an envelope and gave it to Arthur Ashe, and he had it with him in his tennis bag.
Yeah.
So when stuff was getting rough,
and
he was even saying that a lot of folks would have said, "This ain't even my game. This ain't my style.
Right.
Stuff is getting rough. I'm gonna get back to what done got me here."
Right.
But he says whenever he was thinking that, he looked down and he was reading from that envelope, reminding himself, these are the 4 points. This is what I got to do. And he came back out, stuck to that. And of course, it frustrated Jimmy Connors. And
and see, this is why the way this section of the documentary is why I don't like Dr. Henry Louis Gates. Even though he had zero to do with this, and I shouldn't be kicking another brother, but he kind of a cousin. He ain't really a brother. These two white women, they did mention one word about the racism of Jimmy Connor. They
when he had the interview?
Untouched.
Yeah. When he was at the interview?
Yeah, I mean, throughout the entire thing.
Yeah,
he had issue with Ashe being black.
Yeah.
And they just glossed over it.
Yeah.
And
that's probably why he wasn't on the Davis Cup. He refused Davis Cup team.
Right.
Yeah. He would refuse.
When Ashe was kept on it.
Now, actually, there's a director, I think it's Sam something that's actually black.
Jackson.
L. Hey, hold on. We haven't done a Samuel Jackson movie.
Sam Jackson.
Problem.
That
That's a problem. We need to rectify that. We need to rectify that.
Oh, he's in every movie.
Well, what you mean, a movie with him in it? Because it ain't too many of them good that he starred in. I'm just telling you that. That's Fred Williamson, brother.
We can do Snakes on a Plane.
Boy, if we do Snakes
on the TV, mama.
Hey, we do Snakes on a Plane. Next week, we better do Pootie Tang. That's all I'm saying.
Pootie.
Hey, y'all saw what Joe Burrow said.
Joe Cool. Joe Cool. And that was from 2013, wasn't it? A tweet from 2013? Joe Cool.
So, 1988, he had brain surgery and found out he had AIDS from a contaminated blood transfusion.
He said that's when the man gave it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was right around the time Ali started shaking.
How old was how old was Magic Johnson at that time?
Parkinson's, yeah. I mean, like
that's Magic Johnson blood, or where they get it from?
Wow. Okay, sign me out, man. I don't even want to be part of this.
20 seconds.
And I'm gonna tell you what Wilks be doing. I'm gonna give you classic Wilks. This is what Wilks does: bomb, drop. What happened? I don't drop a bomb.
Yeah, I don't know what
happened. Something wrong. What's this reaction? He does it every time, man.
Classic.
Man,
my God.
No, I mean that's
and
what I'm talking
stuff about me. I acknowledge the crazy shit.
At the same time when he had the interview with Cookie, right?
Wow.
Hey, come on, man.
Well,
Somebody
yeah,
look
Magic, they ain't catch up with Magic to 91.
Yeah. Well, I was like a lot of comedians say, if I get age, I want the Magic Johnson kind.
man. Okay.
The kind that make you gain weight and you get rich.
Yeah, I definitely don't want the Easy E kind.
There's some suspect stuff about Easy E too.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Well, see, and the funny thing you bring that up because as soon as they showed how Arthur Ashe had passed, they mentioned the pneumonia, and that's what Arthur Ashe had passed from, and that's what Easy E had passed from. It was the complications of
pneumonia,
the lungs, the pneumonia that set in. That was kind of interesting. Like,
which happens to be one of the ways that people are dying from COVID too, is the pneumonia that sets in as a result.
Isn't that what happened to Bernie Mac too? I thought.
No, Bernie Mac had a breathing. Him and Reggie White died the same way.
Sleep apnea.
Oh, okay.
That's how he died.
Yeah, Reggie White and Bernie. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I thought he had a form of cancer or something like that. They were saying he was losing weight.
Some type of breathing disorder when they were sleeping, and it's almost like SIDS when you a baby.
Right, that's 100% right.
Yeah.
Wow. So 1993, he passed away, and like I said, I would highly suggest you guys watch this, but it did not dwell on it. It had a thing at the end. It said he died in 1983. Then it went through the reel of the photos, and I appreciated that too. I appreciated that. Bernie had a lung condition.
Okay, I know it was something when his respiratory get down.
But this was definitely a quality documentary, and gave you his voice, gave you interviews from him. So let's get to the final thoughts.
Well, before that, there's a Dallas tie to this because he won a major match in Dallas in 1975.
WCT?
Yep, WCT finals in Dallas, 1975.
Yeah, a bunch of Cowboys hats in there. And he was adamant. You talk about Tom Brady, you talk about Jordan. He was adamant, like, I'm not done playing. Like, and that was when he was, I think that was.
He was in 30s.
After he had
late 30s.
That was after he had the heart.
That's what like led to the first heart condition. That was after the bone spurs.
Yeah, now this was after his career was for all intents and purposes over at that time.
Yeah. But he was very adamant that I'm not done and I'm coming back.
Yeah.
And his wife was like, "Nah,
it's time to wrap it up.
You done, son.
It's time to wrap it up, buddy.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah. All right, final thoughts, HRap.
I mean, it was an excellent documentary outside of a few things that I pointed out, social structure things. They always curate whatever they want when they talk about us, but it was excellent. I would recommend it for anybody. It's definitely worth the $6 on Apple and $7 on Amazon.
$7,
Oh yeah,
definitely.
So it's definitely wherever you're gonna get it from, it's definitely worth it. And man, and like it's only like I said, I had this one issue. This only issue I had with it was this one thing that Arthur Ashe had literally just said, "Oh well, it's this," and they said it might be this, and I'm like, he just said it was this, right? I can't remember what it was right now, but I was watching it, going more social structure nonsense. But I truly enjoyed it. I learned a lot about the brother. I've always put him in. I always revered him, and he. It's just, I'm unlike Wilks. He's the Wilks. I never heard of him until he died. I had heard of him my whole life, but I never knew how great he was. I just knew he was the first black XYZ. He was the first this, that, and the third. He was the poster boy for black tennis. That's all I knew. I didn't know he was this great.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead and say, I thought it was great. And also, I think I knew Arthur Ashe, and just like HRap saying, I knew he was the first to do things, but I didn't know how the activism that he was involved in. Like his wife was saying, whatever he got involved in, he was 2 feet in, and he was running with the movement,
right,
running with the cause, and whatever that was, and that was one of the things I appreciated about this. Dawk.
Yeah, it was solid, and I'll just use a couple of quotes to kind of give my final thoughts that I absolutely loved in the documentary. And one was disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. And then they talked about how tactics require intelligence, self-control, and patience. One of the catchphrases that's out there now is about us being intentional and purposeful with whatever it is we're doing in life. And that is a tactic. Okay, so it requires intelligence, self-control, and patience.
Yeah,
my man.
definitely.
Yeah, true.
Definitely.
And I like the way the South Africans made him persona non grata.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Wilks.
For me, like I said, and kind of like what HRap kind of touched on, I did myself a disservice. I have to say, I did not know much about him growing up. I didn't know about him until he passed. It was kind of my introduction into what tennis is now. I don't follow it as much as I do, but I'm aware of it. But I mean, just him as a activist, never knew that. I thought he was just an athlete, honestly. Like I said, before this, I knew nothing. And watching this, I mean, it was an eye opener. I learned a lot of things. I enjoyed it, really big, So I definitely liked how it was put together. Great. I mean, like Ben was saying, they didn't dwell on when he passed, and they didn't, as my grandmother would say, they weren't slinging snot all over the casket and everything. They were just kind of, to the point. And, it was sweet and somber. So I enjoyed it.
You're right. Golden's comment.
Yeah.
Oh,
Started off white uniforms, white shoes, all these white people.
yes, Golden.
Now the tennis balls used to be white. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
I thought they was always
they were white with the tan lines on the inside.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I was like, am my eyes messed up? Or
Yeah.
tennis balls white.
Used to be white.
Did not know that. All right, let's get to the rating. As we do 1 to 5 mics, 5 being the best, obviously 1 being the worst, which I don't think we've got even anything on 1. But Wilks,
we hadn't done Pootie Tang yet, so
we reserving that 1.
We'll get a 1 from me.
I have to give it 5 mics because of the daughter bond aspect, and I have a daughter.
Dad.
It's just something about when she tugs at that heart, I have to get onto her, but I know when she needs if I'm gone too long from one part of the house, she's right there. Dad, I'm just checking on you. Dad, you doing okay?
Love it, man.
So I have to give it it hit me. It hit me. It's just that aspect.
That's what's up, man.
Especially with Arthur Ashe losing his mom, it was just really big. So
I love it, man.
Yeah, it was huge.
Love it.
I have to give it a 5.
Yes, the ball was white too. Yes.
We'll go with Wilks, man.
Wearing them tight shorts, your balls was white too.
They were in both pockets, my friend. Both pockets.
Bike shorts with that one pocket in the back. I don't know if you put me in that one pocket. Some stuff in there or something.
Yes.
Putting that flask in there.
I'm with Wilks. I'm gonna give it a 5. And you know what I really appreciated about it, and maybe they just didn't have the pictures because again, it's the social structure thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they never showed his daughter.
Right.
Because that's a tear-jerking situation. Y'all trying to exploit the situation. Y'all kept the focus on him. You kept the focus on his story. You kept the focus on his life. I appreciated that. That's why I gave it.
And I have to piggyback off of what HRap just said, because even the wife mentioned the relationship between him and his daughter, because after losing his mom, he bonded, and it was almost like a love letter to his mom because he got another chance. And so that it kind of hit me, and I was like, man, I got a daughter, and she, like I said, she's right there. If I'm gone too long, if I'm in a spot, Dad, how you doing? Dad, you all right? So it kind of pulled at my heartstrings, and I have to give it a 5 for that aspect.
Okay. All right, Dawk.
I had it down as a 4. It was a solid 4. It was good. I enjoyed it. And again, it started out a little slow, for me. So there were some aspects that stopped it from getting a 5. But I, like I said, I enjoyed it. I thought I would recommend it for sure.
Absolutely.
Because like I said, if you watch TV, movies, film, whatever it is, like I watch, you can get a message out of a lot of stuff. And I think there were several in this. So like I said, I'm at a solid 4.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go the same route. I've been thinking of 4 since I watched it, and I still 4 is not bad, obviously.
No.
Yeah, and I think it was something that I learned. I more so looked at it as an educational.
I guess Golden Brooks gonna give us the play-by-play. Yeah, we even though we just watched the movie.
We appreciate that.
Come through, Golden. Come through.
Appreciate you, Golden.
Come through.
Podcast next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give it a solid 4. I thought it was it was good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's an overall of 4.5, from the forecast. So I think that's right.
I loved it. Like I said, I didn't know much about him, unfortunately, until he passed. I didn't know anything about him, and I kind of did myself a disservice because I did not go research him.
Yeah, but it's not too late. And again, sometimes you get a different appreciation at a different wisdom level, at a different age level. I mean, who knows? Like I said, had you known about it, maybe this doesn't impact you the same way. So maybe you didn't do yourself a disservice. Maybe
it's like Dick Gregory. I didn't know he was an activist. I didn't know he was in. Every time I saw Dick Gregory, he was.
You thought about some shakes. You
shakes and comedy. Shakes
some of that
and house party.
Some of that Dick Gregory.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
All right. So next week, you want to talk about next week?
Yes, I would like to talk about next.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because I think that the name of the show is "We Need to Talk About Bill Cosby," right? Or we need to talk about Cosby. I think is the name of it.
It's a series, though.
Matter of fact, did we even look to
how many episodes? Is it an hour or something?
That's a series.
I think it's a series.
I don't think it's a series.
I didn't.
I know they've been killing my man W. Kamau Bell on TV, man. I'm on YouTube. They've been destroying him.
Oh, really?
Only thing I ain't like about the preview is I don't like that old frog looking ass Jamil Hill, man.
Yeah.
I can't stand her.
Finally, somebody on my side.
Stand her.
Yeah, it's in different parts. They're actually, I guess, releasing it weekly.
Oh, well, it's another one. It's called Fat Tuesdays. It's a 4-part series on Prime, and it's showing how Guy Torrey picked up the mantle from Robin Harris for the comedy world. He helped develop Def Comedy Jam. So
I feel like
we may not be able to do that next week.
Yeah. What else? I know we have some stuff on the list.
4-part documentary series. So.
They're releasing, I think, the next episode like on the 20th or something.
Oh, okay. Well,
I guess they're releasing an episode every week.
Fat Tuesdays is it's a cool documentary. It's about comedy. Basically, it shows you how Black comedy was forced itself on the scene because they was talking about how you just had to wait your turn and beg for a slot, and then Robin Harris say, "Fuck this, I ain't doing this no more," and went to the Comedy Act Theater in Los Angeles, and then everybody started coming down there and getting on stage, and then the producers, casting people, they started coming down there, and then he was supposed to be the next thing, and then he died. And then it went into a law, and then Guy Torrey went to the Comedy Store, and they put him in the smallest room that's supposed to hold like 40 people. He was putting 100 in there. And next thing you know, he was keeping the Comedy Store open because they got Shaq and Kobe, and it became the who's who of comedy. And I mean, I think it's worth a watch. It's a 4-part series. It's on Amazon Prime. I think, and then
it's all already out.
It's all already out, and then it shows what it really was. What was super dope about it at the very end. everybody's paying homage to Guy Torrey, and he adds all these black comedians to the Comedy Store wall.
Nice.
And then it even showed the tumultuous relationship between Guy and Joe that most of us outside of the comedy world don't understand, how they were literally on stage. It started off, they missed out on a TV show opportunity because of their cantankerous relationship. Then they were on stage trying to celebrate Joe, and it turned into a roast fest that was not, man, it was hard.
You talking about the brothers, Joe and
Guy and Joe Torrey? They love each other, but they don't like each other.
Okay.
They literally had to make a pact.
What's the name of it?
It is fat spelled P-H-A-T, fat too.
And it's on
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
We doing that next week? Or?
Yeah, I would suggest that. It's dope. It's super dope, man. I mean, I would like to see what y'all.
I'll check it out.
How many? How long? How many? What is it, like an hour?
Yeah, it's like 4 hours.
All right. Y'all, you want to split it or do all of it?
No, it's not worth splitting.
Okay.
It's not.
I'm good with that. What else? What else do we have on the list? I know we have some old.
Let's see. Penitentiary. Let's see. We had Arthur Ashe on the list. We got that knocked out. Just Mercy.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about that. Where's that at?
Yeah,
I don't know where it's at.
My girl was telling me that she can't believe I ain't watched that.
Yeah, that's what I said last week. Stir Crazy, Trading Places, Buck and the Preacher.
Buck, I say Buck.
It says Just Mercy is on the HBO Max.
HBO Max.
I'm on it then. I'm on. I mean, either way, I'm with it because I've been getting smacked around for not seeing that.
You said Buck and the Preacher? Which one?
Yeah,
Buck and the Preacher.
We're only a couple of weeks off of Uptown Saturday Night. Right. So I say we wait one more week. Let's do Just Mercy.
Okay,
with this comedy special, that's gonna take away a day of the week for me.
I've never watched that
and stuff.
Just Mercy, and that was released
2 years ago.
Yeah,
and
Just Mercy.
Rob Morgan, our boy Rob Morgan, that was in Don't Look Up. He was in that. Jamie Foxx. Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
All right,
Girl,
Just Mercy.
Hey, I got. Let's watch this movie.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Is he still alive? You talking about
in our hearts?
All right, so everybody, we doing Just Mercy. Just Mercy.
Yeah, I just sent it in the Facebook in the Messenger group. I just put it. That's where I've been putting it, so I don't forget it.
Yeah, but it is. It looks like it's on multiple platforms: Amazon, HBO Max. So yeah, I like that. I think that's good. And then I think maybe we do the Fat
Tuesday after
Fat Tuesday.
Yeah,
and then after that,
Buck and the Preacher. We can go back old.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Or maybe not that type. What about Trading Places or Stir Crazy or something like that? One of those two.
Either way,
or Penitentiary. Penitentiary.
Half dead and do dirt.
Yeah. And then the 28th, the 1 year anniversary. So I'll be sharing out some stuff. Also coming up on Friday, let's go ahead and get this. We got a comedy versus battle coming up. King Dawk,
Showtime.
Comedian John Yogi. Let's get to this promo right here.
Who? John Lewis. Yogi? Yogi Bear? Yeah, I've been wanting to get at him anyway. He always picking on my little sister. But you know what they say, Yogi Bear. If you see me in a fight with a bear, jump in, help the bear.
Ha ha! Y'all thought he was the only king up in this piece? Don't make me laugh. Leave me.
I just realized this. You can hear his wife like she
laugh. She
Try
was
not to laugh
trying
at
to
that,
keep
man.
it together, man.
Cutting up.
Oh
Leave
my
me.
God. That leg thing catch me every
Yeah.
time.
I was like, you all right there, bro?
Yeah.
Anybody know who Leon Isaac?
That's the star penitentiary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a star. Right there.
Lick. Leon Isaac Kennedy. Lick.
Yeah.
And what's the other one with the boxing? Oh, gosh.
Too Sweet.
Too
Body
Sweet,
and
yeah.
Soul. baby.
But so
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I hadn't seen that at all.
Reigns forever.
Yeah, as a kid.
We need to work one of them penitentiaries in after Dawson.
Somebody said, "Okay, Busta Rhymes." I don't know if you're talking about you, Dawk.
Man,
He is.
it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a
It'll be a
good
good
one.
one. Friday night, right here
we got
on.
some, and hopefully there will be some big network announcements made that day, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be a good show.
gonna be a
I'm
good
excited about where we're
Yeah.
going with it.
It'll
Really.
be on
Make
all
sure
the
John sit in that chair
BS3
like that
network.
again.
It'll be on all the BSU network platforms, also on Roku and on the Queen 3 and King YouTube page. So we can be going at it. We could be going at it. All right, what's coming up tomorrow on Queen 3 and King?
Why won't he text first? Maybe he just not that into your ass. We'll find out tomorrow. But this
I don't need to.
Yeah. Why won't he text first? This
It's
is
kind of rusty.
hey, we done all had that chick that machine gun text you. You ain't texted back. A minute later, she texted you again. 3 minutes later, she texted again. 5 minutes later, if you don't like me no more, say something.
I don't like you no more.
Just tell me.
I did, but now
I'm
So,
going
yeah,
to sleep
that
tonight.
that ought to be funny tomorrow.
That'll be good.
Maybe we can help some folks out there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Maybe.
End of the bench.
I'm gonna go from tragic to bad tomorrow. Homeboy got murdered up in Minnesota. Another no-knock warrant.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that.
State trooper. This brother down in Louisiana. He's a state trooper. He lost his job for snitching on the governors and the state troopers cover up of a murder of a young brother.
Wow.
And like Pamela Moses in jail because I've literally seen state documents of them saying she can register to vote in Tennessee, and she is still incarcerated right now and sentenced for 6 years for being a felon, even though they have documentation by the Tennessee DOC that she can register to vote. And she didn't vote, she just registered. There's a lot of stuff. Joe Biden announces that him and Mitch McConnell are friends. Democratic Party, I'm gonna need y'all to get somebody to replace Crazy Joe, period. And it's a bunch of stuff like this brother down in Louisiana, he running for state senate. He running against Kennedy. And Kennedy won because of his name. And this dude is promoting the sale of marijuana. He actually, in one of his ads, he fired up a blunt. But basically, I'm gonna talk about how is it that there's more black people in Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana than anywhere else in America, contrary to popular belief. There are more black people in the South than anywhere else in America. That's the greatest concentration of black people in the country. But the DNC don't put money into Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. It's only 4 million people in the state of Louisiana. And it's 40% black.
Yeah.
And I think it's like 13% Latino. So how the hell isn't the DNC winning and investing in those states? Is it because, like, one of the reasons that I believe, I can't tell y'all one of the reasons, y'all won't tune in. But just trust me, I got a interesting theory on that. And up until 1940, was even more black people in the state of South Carolina. Black people in the state of South Carolina than white people. So why isn't the DNC invested into those places?
Yeah. And I heard a rumor that's not that Kennedy. What's that guy's name?
John Kennedy.
That's not his real voice. Like he just
tries to sound like
just try to sound like he a Southerner, but he from like New Jersey or something.
Right.
Wow.
But it's all.
But he won because of his name. My man was running against him.
It's all a gimmick. It's just like you got these commercials down here where they got George P. Bush, which is what I guess it's his grandson or whatever.
Right.
But they do that whole. It's all about fear mongering. How can we make you afraid to vote for me? Guess what? I ain't voting for one of y'all. So
right. And one of the things with my civics, I do a civics thing every week. One of my civics thing is this is how we can fight some of this, Jared. I'm gonna talk about how we can fight some of this. A salute to the state of South Carolina. Salute to the state of Ohio, because that Supreme Court shot down gerrymandering. Oh, and the state of Texas too. Salute to the state of Texas. Texas, Ohio, and South Carolina. These racist politicians and these Klan adjacent politicians tried to make it so they will redistrict those 3 states and make it so even though you should have a representative, but it's going to be 80% white and then just 10% black. When it's really, if you leave the old district open, it would be a black person or Latino person running that district. So shout out to the Supreme Court in all 3 of those states. But it's going to be kind of heavy, man, because they're doing a whole lot of shenanigans. And I think I'm going to give what I believe is one method in which we can fight. And it's a sister. What's her name? Mia Mottley. She is setting out the blueprint. Salute to our sister, Prime Minister Mia Mottley. She is doing what Dr. King said broke people, evil, wicked people are doing in the letter from Alabama. He said, Dr. King said, the wicked people are doing using their time is better served than the good people in this country. Our sister Mia Mottley, she receded from England, and then she's already a prime minister, and she called for another election before they can muddy up her name next year. She's like, no, I want another election now. She's gonna win, and I'll tell y'all what she's doing to combat that and what we need to do to support her to combat that, because Mia, word around the campfire is our sister Mia Mottley is eventually going to try to create the United States of the Caribbean. And what we can do to help her if she does, even before she does, and I think it's something that we all can do to help her, because just like, look at our relationship with America as a abusive relationship. You can only abuse people who you think you can control. You're like, it's people, it's women with financial gain or whatever they can hold over man head, and it's men that try to exercise power over these women. And it's because they don't care about the relationship. The person who cares the least about the relationship controls it, right? And I'm gonna give bullet points on what we can do to make it difficult for them to control us. You can do it.
Awesome. It's important conversation.
It's good stuff.
Appreciate that, Wonga. He said the show is so dope. I enjoy every time you brothers come together. Thank you for the good content. Thank you for tuning in. Let me give a shout out to the people that gave us thumbs up on Facebook. They didn't comment, didn't get a chance to. But my uncle, thank you for tuning in. They'll be coming up on Late Night with BS3 real soon. Chris Chrisman, Chris Dawkins, Nathan Craig, and Danielle White got that joint Facebook page like my parents. Theodore, thank you for all the comments. We appreciate those. Yeah. We put every comment up on the stream. So
Chris Dawkins is a funny story about him. I actually met him at the Arlington Improv about a month or so ago. He was sitting right next to me, and the comedian was messing with him, because he wasn't laughing when everybody else was. And so when he asked him his name, he said Chris Dawkins. And I'm like, what are the chances of somebody named Dawkins sitting right next to me in a comedy club? So needless to say, after the show, we struck up a conversation, exchanged numbers, friended each other on Facebook. He started watching the show immediately, you know. So
y'all not related?
Nope.
Wow.
Not at all.
I thought y'all was related or something.
Nope. Just met him about a month ago.
That's
all
dope.
right.
I thought black people didn't interact like that. See?
Oh yeah, we do.
Kill it. Another stereotype to kill. All right, we'll kick it to you, HRap, like we always do.
Salute to Reggie O'Shea and Craig Smith. And Reggie O'Shea, we affectionately call him the Power Father, former attorney, entertainment attorney, former creator of the Combat Jack show, Combat Jack. And he used to end all his shows like this: dream those dreams and man up a woman up and live those dreams. Because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor and surround sound. And never forget this. If you forget everything else we said tonight, never forget this. If I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
Thank you.
We'll see you now.